Test one, two, test. Pineapple. Pineapple. All right, how's it sound?
Perfect.
Perfect pineapple. All right. Ready when you are, sir.
They don't know what the fuck they're doing. Do you understand that?
Nothing bad can happen. It can only good happen.
Buongiorno.
Your cup is not working there.
Oh.
Yeah. How's it going, man? Welcome back to the
Good.
greatest country in the world. How was your time?
Yeah.
How was your time
I
abroad?
went to Italy to try and get my hair plugs did, and they botched it.
My favorite part of that whole deal was I told Jesse ahead of time that I was gonna make something up about you at the beginning, and then he totally bought it. He was like, "Really? He got it. I'm happy for him." And I was like, "Dude, I warned you I was gonna do this." So sorry you're still bald, but I'm glad you made it back safely.
It's fine.
Do you want to talk at all about why you were so secretive about where you were going?
Oh yeah, I was terrified that they were gonna detain me. ICE was gonna detain me at the airport.
Uh,
I was like, I just don't even want to like mention it just in case, because
I-
what, Palantir is gathering all this information on us?
that's the thing. I thought it was funny and kind of ridiculous that you were like basically afraid that somebody from the Trump administration will see our podcast. They'll be one of the 50 viewers and decide to hold you up coming back into the country. But with Palantir, like I guess it's not that out of the realm of what could happen. So
Yeah.
I'm glad. How like clenched were you when you were coming back into the country through customs? Like, were you worried at all?
No, not really. Not really. I would have like I feel like as soon as I walked up and I like gave him my password and he was like, "Do you have any fruit, vegetables, or, you know, organic materials?" And I was just like, "Nope." And he was like, "All right, see ya."
I
I
got
was like,
caught.
"Okay, cool."
I got caught bringing different like jellies and jams back from France. Didn't mean to. Like we had bought like a cute little, it was like a little five mini little bottles, like a little set of different types of jams from France, and we had
Yeah.
them in our suitcase. And like the dog alerted to it, and my wife like looked at me like, "What's in the bag?" And I was like, "I have no idea." And then they went through it and they pulled out our little gift set of like five jams. And it at first I was like, "Oh crap, are we in trouble?" And they just took it. They were like, "All right, you can't bring this in," and they kicked us out of the way and let us keep
They
it.
wouldn't let you bring jams in?
No, you can't bring any food, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, it was like a jelly or jam substance, and it got confiscated at DFW airport, and they took it from us. So,
Oh, interesting.
yeah,
Yeah, very interesting.
yep.
Well, because if you go through duty free, you can bring whatever, right?
I don't know. I don't know how it works. I don't want to pretend I understand. I've only traveled
Yeah.
internationally like twice, and I don't know how it works. So,
Okay.
anyhow, but overall, good trip. You saw the Italian countryside or coast, or what'd you see?
I saw the coast, mostly big cities, and then the coast twice. So it
How was
was, we did 15 cities in 10 days.
Oh, damn. That's the way I would plan a trip. Like your family plans trips the way I would. So it'd be
That's what my
balls to
sister,
the
that's
wall.
all my sister. I was
Yep.
like, man, but it was good. I got to see a lot of stuff.
How
Yeah,
was the
and I'm also counting Dallas or Denver to Dallas, and then on the way back we stopped in London. So
Okay, so that's the city.
yeah.
What food? Was the food phenomenal
Food
or
was phenomenal,
okay.
and inexpensive too. It was insane. So we one night we went out to eat and we had like a bottle of wine. There were six of us. We got a bottle of wine and everybody had dessert and it was like $180.
Dang, that's not bad. I think we talked about this while you were over there, but when we were in Paris for our honeymoon, there was a little patisserie, a little French bakery right down the street, and I would go down there every morning and get a latte and two croissants, one for me and one for my wife, and it was like $2.50. It was something ridiculous. Where I was like, really, like
Yeah.
this wouldn't buy me half of a cup of coffee in America. Okay, cool. I was very pleased to do it.
Yeah, my favorite mornings were like when I had enough time to like to go get an espresso, which it was always €1 30 is how they say it. So kind of like $1.50 maybe,
Yeah.
somewhere in there. And then if you added a croissant on there, a it was like 210 or something like that.
Yep. Go to Starbucks and order a shot of espresso, and it's like $7 or something. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it's not, but I'm guessing it's something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
And so I would go to like three different ones. I would go to one, I would have an espresso and like it was all stand-up counter stuff. So I would just like do what the locals do. I would just stand at the counter, drink my espresso real quick, and then keep walking. And I'd walk around for a while, and then I'd see another one. I'm like, oh, I'll pop in here and get an espresso and a croissant. And like, yeah,
Nice.
those are my favorite mornings.
I love it. Well, the good news is while you were gone, it was honestly like a slow news time. Like not a whole lot happened.
No, it wasn't. Oh my
Okay.
gosh, dude.
Okay, a couple things happened while you were gone. I think I'm gonna start. Here's the thing. I had to really pare down what we were going to talk about tonight because I was keeping a list for you were gone for 12 days. And in that 12 days, I had like 700 bullet points of things to possibly talk about that happened. And I had to get rid of a lot of them. The highlights, we're not going to spend much time talking about this, but we've now blown up, I think, 4 boats in the Caribbean using Hellfire missiles. We just blew up another one like earlier today, and it was just off the coast of Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico was the first one to like say anything about it. They kind of drew attention to it, and then Trump did later come out and say, "Yeah, we did it. It was narco terrorists, and we have evidence. Those 3 were moving drugs." I don't know. They'd be great if they showed us some of the evidence because it seems like we're just blowing up any boat in that area. If they have the evidence, they should show us. But that's one of the things that's been happening that we don't have time to discuss.
What what is going on?
Yeah. The first 3 were like right off the coast of Venezuela. This one
Yeah.
was apparently like all the way near Puerto Rico. So
And there's like they're not giving us any proof that these people were running drugs or people or anything like that.
they might have. So the first boat, I believe the first boat was probably not running drugs, just for the fact that there were 11 people on it. And I don't know if it was me and you or me and Jesse that talked about this, but like when you're running drugs, weight is the key thing. So you don't have 11 people on the boat. You have just enough people to run the boat, and then the rest of it's drugs. I've never run drugs, but I'm guessing that's how it goes. So,
By the way, how good was Jesse? That was awesome.
yeah, we're gonna get him on again soon, so
Great.
the 3 of us can have a fun conversation.
Yeah, y'all did great.
Appreciate it.
Okay,
Yep.
so they're running drugs between Venezuela and Puerto Rico? Is that what's going on?
Nobody said. I would think that they're going to say, well, Puerto Rico is like a fuel stop, so they can, because you can't take a boat that size from Venezuela to like Miami, so you would need to make stops along the way. I'm guessing nobody has said this from the White House, but I'm guessing that's the theory: is you would need to get refill of gas, just like any road trip. It would make sense. I'm totally pulling that out of my rear. So if that's not right, I'm sorry, but that makes sense to me.
So whatever I do, don't get on a boat between Puerto Rico and Venezuela.
Dude, who was it? It was JD Vance or somebody made a joke about that. Oh, it was when Jimmy Kimmel got fired. JD Vance was like, I don't know. I hear they're looking for boat captains around Venezuela. Or he said something like that. And like whoever was interviewing him, they got a good old chuckle about it. Now, I didn't pull that, but it was one of those where I was just like, oh, we're laughing about the boats we're blowing up. Cool. So like I said, I didn't pull anything. Just letting you know, we're up to 4 now. At some point, we'll have to get some evidence on that.
Well, on the same note, the drug note, did you see there's a new drug out that's 50 times more lethal than fentanyl?
I'm scared. What? Okay. What is this drug called?
I haven't heard it said yet. I just read it today, and it's spelled Nitazenes, nitazenes,
That sounds made up to me.
nitazines.
Nitazines.
Yeah.
Okay.
50 times more lethal than fentanyl. So I guess it's another something that we can go after.
Okay. Well, the other thing, and this just happened today, and we both need to look into this between now and the next time we record. But Trump signed the executive order today designating Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization. I just have this on my phone, and I don't have anything really prepared. I want to read it, and I want to let smart people read it, and then tell me through podcast what's going on here. But at first glance, kind of the word on Twitter and whatnot right now is it's worded so that anyone protesting ICE agents, filming or asking them for ID, informing people of their rights, or anything like that, in any way interfering with ICE can be charged as a domestic terrorist. Now, when he first announced that he was going to do Antifa as a domestic terrorist organization, people were kind of laughing. They were like, Antifa's not an organization. Like, I think I said that. It was like, there's no like structure to it. Like, you can't sanction a group that doesn't exist. It's a movement. But people are starting to realize that somebody, probably Stephen Miller, like wrote this in a very broad way. You said it weeks ago, and we're seeing it more and more. But if you just call somebody a terrorist, suddenly they have no rights, and you can just do whatever you want to them.
Yeah.
And they're wording it in a way to where anybody that dares interfere with ICE, or the other one was if there's any kind of a protest, if they can link it to where somebody paid for the protest, they paid for busting people in or signs or anything like that, that's Antifa, according to this. Because which this is really weird too, because Antifa means anti-fascist. So the government making Antifa a terrorist organization is kind of like telling on themselves as far as them being fascist. I don't really know. Like we don't want anybody protesting fascism in America. What? I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
what we did in World War II is we went and beat the fascism out of parts of Europe. Like that was,
Right. Right. Yeah. We're completely anti-fascist. Like our whole government is built around anti-fascism.
but now it's illegal to be
Like
anti-fascism.
democracy is
Yeah.
specifically anti-fascism.
It used to be, I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, I'm looking, there's certain people that I listen to on a daily basis that I want to hear them tomorrow talk about this. And maybe what I'm seeing on Twitter right now is overblowing it. And maybe it's not as alarming as I think it is right now. It just came out today. I want to take a day or two and read up on it, listen up on it, and then let's have a chat about that. But that might be the most alarming thing that's happened in the time since we last talked. But like I said, I'm not prepared yet. So next show.
Almost every day when I was overseas, I was looking at the news, or I got BBC a couple times, or CNN. I guess it's the UK version or whatever.
And
Um,
it's CNN International.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Every once in a while, I would get that and I'd watch it for pop on for a couple minutes, and like I was just like, while I was over there, I was just like, and I would like scroll through my news feed, or like, I think I would go on Instagram every once in a while and look, because I rode a lot of trains. Uh, so I got to like pop in here and there and like look at the news. I tried to stay away, but it was like every time I did, I was like, our country's on fire.
Dude,
Like that was the feeling I got. I was like, our country is just on fire right now. And not in the Trumpish where our country's on fire.
yeah, we're the
Our
hottest
country's
country
actually
out there.
burning.
Yeah. Dude, it's interesting to see how other countries cover America. Because when I was in Paris, I got Sky News and BBC were the only those were
Yeah.
the only two English speaking stations I got. So I was watching every night. This was, 2013, 14. I wasn't really that into politics back then, but I was just like, oh, I wonder what's happening in America. And every night they were talking about these like Monsanto protests and stuff like that. And I'd never heard the word Monsanto. And then when I got back, like I was asking people, I was like, oh shit, like when I was in Europe, I was seeing about these Monsanto protests, and everybody I knew was like, huh? What? And then I turned on the local news, and like our local news was only talking about like Obama wearing a tan suit or whatever it
Yeah.
was, and but overseas, the headlines were way different about what's going on in America. So it always makes me wonder.
Yeah, they
With
actually focus on the news over there. No, they don't do the
you know,
pop culture politics.
with the way the internet is, I'm fairly certain that I could pull up like Sky News. I should start doing that on a regular basis and just see like how is Europe talking about what America's doing. So I bet it'd be interesting.
Oh yeah, it is
So.
interesting. Yeah.
Anyhow, not the most important thing, but it also just happened today. So let me get this out of the way. Jimmy Kimmel is returning Tuesday night to the airwaves.
All
Um,
right. Okay.
so now, not to all the airwaves. We didn't get to talk about this really, but ABC Disney owns the Kimmel Show, but then the individual local stations are owned by different groups. Nexstar is the first one that said they were pulling Jimmy Kimmel's show. They're the ones. I don't know if you saw this or not, but they're trying to get a merger approved by the FCC. And right now, there's a rule where one company can only own like 39% of the TV stations, and currently they own like 38%. And they're trying to do this merger that would put them at like 80%. And basically, they need Brendan Carr to break the rule and approve it. And that's why when he said maybe you should think about getting rid of Jimmy Kimmel, they were all about it. So
Oh, so monopolies are okay now.
yeah, and I saw a deal today where like 20 years ago there were 50 different entities owned the 50 different like top stations where we got our information from. And now it's five. And like, it's one of those where like Frito-Lay owns Pepsi, who owns blah blah blah, and that's how the TV stations all are. So like right now Skydance Media owns Paramount, and like they're getting ready to make an offer for CNN and HBO. It's like Warner Brothers sub. It's a part of Warner Brothers. That's the company owned by Larry Ellison. Larry Ellison, this is important. We're basically, instead of taking over the airwaves like by the government, Trump is basically doing it a smarter way, where he's just having all of his allies purchase everything. So The group buying TikTok is Larry Ellison, who he runs Oracle. Oracle apparently is very CIA related. I don't know the full story there, but apparently
Hmm.
like there's a whole CIA connection there. But he owns Oracle and he now owns Paramount. He's the one who fired Colbert. Um, the Murdochs are also involved in this ownership group. They're the ones that own Fox. And then there's a couple of pro-Israel billionaires who are very, very, and Larry Ellison himself is pro-Israel. So that's who's buying TikTok. So pretty soon we're going to have just like NBC and MSNBC. And I'm going to say ABC because ABC is not owned by a billionaire that's friends with Trump, but they already gave him 16 million. They pulled Kimmel this week. Like, so I don't know how much we can count on them.
So they pulled Kimmel, and then Disney completely lost like billions of dollars.
They lost billions of dollars of market share, which that's kind of imaginary money. Like it's, I mean, once they bring them back, give it 2 or 3 weeks, and they'll be right back to where they were. So like, yeah, their value went down, but it's not like that
Yeah.
money came out of their bank account. It's I don't want to pretend I know too much about it, but that's the gist.
I'm still canceling my Disney Plus account.
I saw a lot of people are doing that. That's one of those where they, if you have kids, they kind of have you by the balls there because like the Disney app, if you have kids, is necessary. Like that's. It's hard to be like,
You
hey,
can't explain to the kids that
that a late night TV host was taken off the air for making fun of the president. Therefore, you can't watch your shows anymore. No, I don't want to
yeah.
have that argument with my kid.
And you just hit on a good point. He was making fun of the president,
I've
not
rewatched
Charlie
that so
Kirk.
many times. It wasn't degrading to Charlie Kirk at all.
Right.
The way he worded it was he said, MAGA has spent all weekend trying to prove that this kid wasn't on their side, or something along those lines, which the kid turned out not to be on their side. But he just, if you want to parse his words, he said they spent all weekend trying to prove that he wasn't on their side. So he didn't necessarily say he was on their side. He just said that that's what they've been talking is definitely not one of them, which both sides were trying to do that whole weekend. The left was saying, no, 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 it's a groper. And the right was saying, no, 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 he was a leftist. Both
I
sides spent
mean,
all weekend doing that.
uh, yeah, and you told me so that this was the last update that you gave me. You said that it looks like he's actually a left wing. He's got a girlfriend or a boyfriend who's going through trans surgery, and he looks like he did it, but he's as like he was Charlie Kirk was anti-gay, and this kid was gay, and so this is where his hate came from for Charlie Kirk.
So
Uh,
it appears, and we're going to learn way more about this. So I'm just totally telling you what we know so far. It appears he wasn't really political. The one thing that he really, the issue that mattered to him was Trump and Charlie Kirk and other Republicans that were hating on the trans people right now. Like that seems to be his thing. According to interviews with all of his friends that he played games with and they went camping together and stuff, like they all say like he really wasn't political. He just didn't like the anti-trans stuff because he was dating someone who was trans. So that he felt
yeah,
like that was an attack on him. And his dad said that he didn't like Trump and he didn't like Charlie Kirk. So for classification purposes, I will happily say this guy seems to be on the left. Now he doesn't seem to be like a far like that. They immediately started trying to find links to tie him to like far left domestic terror groups, and it's been for the past 2 or 3 days. It's been all over the place. But the Pentagon is or not the DOJ is basically leaking that like we can't find any connections. It appears this kid really wasn't that political except for that one issue. So
yeah. I mean, even his grandmother said like she's convinced he didn't do it. First of
dude,
all,
so
I'm going with Kyle Kalinske on this one. I mean, the text messages that were going back and forth do seem like Cash Patel wrote them himself.
so they
Like, and
actually
can we trust Cash Patel at all? No.
the FBI admitted that those texts were recreated based off the interview with his roommate slash lover. So those weren't the exact. Those got the him and they both deleted their text, but then the lover basically cracked under pressure and told them what they had texted. So those were recreated texts. I feel like they should have made that more clear up front because all the people that were saying this doesn't seem like how two 22-year-old would talk, but they were right. So anyhow, we're gonna get to the conspiracy theories. I promise you, I have a little bit of room for that tonight. So there are some there. But real quick, so Jimmy is returning. I don't really care. I will tune in because apparently just to piss Trump off, he's having Gavin Newsom on as his first guest. So it's
Yes.
it's gonna be a shit on Trump fest. And
Good.
I'm very curious to see what he says on his monologue. I told you before though, I'm a Colbert guy. I don't really watch Kimmel, but I'll watch that first one back.
Well,
We
this is
also
I mean, this is a free speech thing, right? And this is what the right's been complaining about the left is like free speech. And now he's completely and utterly destroying free speech and this was one of Kirk's issues too, right? He was a pro free speech guy, like a
so
100%.
and he mainly the clips I've seen. I don't want to pretend I knew everything he said. I didn't watch him, but he said like there is no such thing as hate speech. That was one of his big things. And Pam Bondi came out like while you were gone, I think about a week and a half ago, and basically was saying that they're going to make laws against hate speech. And I will tell you this: there have been a couple times in the last 2 weeks where a lot of Republicans stood up and did the right thing when going against Trump, and we have to give them props for that. When Pam Bondi said they're going to do away with hate speech, a lot of people stood up and said it. With Jimmy Kimmel firing, a lot of them, including Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz was vocally like, "This is wrong." He said, "I like Brendan Carr, the FCC guy, but like this is wrong. It's dangerous." Blah blah blah. Like so, there have been some right wing voices that they all started by saying, "I don't like Jimmy Kimmel at all," but blah 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 blah. So
Well, Kirk was completely I mean, if you want to go after somebody for hate speech, Kirk was a hate speech human being. I mean, the
I
guy
don't feel.
called for the murder of Joe Biden.
So here's the thing. I've seen a lot of clips of him that in the clip, I'm like, oh, that's divisive as hell. But I haven't gone and watched the entirety of it. So I just want to say, like, I don't know, maybe like I've seen some clips that I'm like, I don't care what the entirety of it was. That right there
Yeah,
seems bad.
there's a lot of it out there, and there's a lot of it out there.
But there are other clips like the reason I'm hesitant to say this, and I might have told you this already on the air, but there was one clip that they were like, look how racist he was. He keeps calling someone in the crowd a chink, is what they were saying. And in reality, in the video, it was Cenk Uygur or whatever his name is and
Yeah.
he was in the crowd and he was yelling stuff up. And Charlie was like, Cenk, you better Cenk. And he said his name like 8 times. And the left was saying like, oh, look, he's calling this guy a chink. He's racist. And it's like, well, hold on.
Yeah.
I know because I've seen that clip before that that's Jink, the guy's name, blah, blah, blah. So it makes me very hesitant only seeing clips on the other stuff to act like, yep, that's for sure. Like, I don't know. There might be a whole. He might have been saying, how dumb would you have to say that Joe Biden should be executed or whatever? But they cut out the first part where I'm just saying, until I see full clips, I will say this.
Right.
Here's what I feel comfortable saying. If you were trans for sure, I can see how everything he said about trans was offensive to you. Totally. Like I can see that.
Okay. And you're black.
Based off what I've seen, if you're black, based all the stuff he said about the civil rights movement being the biggest mistake, like if you're black and you got a problem with that, I can see that. I mean, I'm not black, so I'm not trying to speak for them, but if they don't like that, then it would make sense to me. So there's certain groups
I don't like that.
What's that?
I don't like that.
Okay, one. I'm going to sidetrack us real quick. But I've learned recently that I'm not going to start thinking what groups should be thinking. There's been some polling on the Hispanic voters. Hispanic voters are fleeing from Trump in like record numbers. He's way underwater with them now.
Of course,
but apparently,
he's putting them all in jail.
But I would have thought that all the stuff he's doing with deporting Mexicans and all that would turn all of them off. I'm like, oh, if you're a Mexican American and you see the way he's treating Mexicans, that's terrible, right? And
Yeah.
it turns out I'm wrong. Like. The example I can give is like if you're standing in a long line waiting to get to the front for some reason and somebody walks up to the front and cuts in line, how do you feel about that?
Cuts in line for what?
For whatever. You're standing in a long line. Doesn't matter what. You're standing in a long line. It's taking forever. And somebody walks by you all the way to the front and cuts in line. You would be pissed at that person,
In Italy, all these tourists, that's all they do from around the world.
It was probably maddening.
They all just go. At first it was, but then it was like, okay, you just kind of got to fight for your position. Like
I'm just saying, in most scenarios, everybody back there that sees the guy cut would be upset. And then if the cops came and grabbed that guy and said, hey, you cut, you got to get out of here, everybody in line would be applauding that. Apparently, there are a lot of Hispanic Americans that see the ones that came in illegally getting deported and are all for it. I would have not thought that, but the polling indicates that is now they think that he's gone too far now, but they were for it initially. They were, if they came in I had to go through a year of different this and that and forms and whatnot to be able to come to America. And these assholes just came across the border illegally. Get them out of here. There's a lot of Hispanic Americans. So because of that right there, I don't feel comfortable being like, oh, if you're black, you should be upset at Charlie Kirk. I have no clue. I'd like to talk to a black person.
Right. You can't say that. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I just think that he was hateful towards certain different groups, mostly groups that weren't white men. Because he also was kind of hateful towards women.
Depends on how you look at it. I know that some women I know think that his stuff about, Taylor Swift, you need to give up your career and serve your husband or whatever he was saying. I know women that were really offended by that. I also know a lot of women that are like, yeah, a woman's job is to honor and serve her husband. So
who do you know?
Dude, you got to think about where I live. I talk to these people on a daily basis. I'm not kidding at all. You can give me that look all you want. I talk to these people. Anyhow.
This is frustrating.
It is frustrating. I'm sorry. I will say
I'm sorry you live there.
I live in a fun area. Speaking of this real quick, Oklahoma, since you teed me up I teed myself up for Oklahoma, but I'm trying to not say anything negative about someone who was recently slain, assassinated, whatever. There are times where I'm catching myself saying, this is going too far. A new bill filed in Oklahoma that says every public university in the state must now have a Charlie Kirk Memorial Plaza with a statue of Charlie Kirk and his family. The bill actually reads, the square or plaza plans shall include a statue of Charlie Kirk sitting at a table with an empty seat across from him, or a statue of Charlie Kirk and his wife standing or holding their children in their arms as a central element of the square or plaza. This hasn't actually been voted on yet, but this is a bill introduced in Oklahoma that every public university in Oklahoma has to have a Charlie Kirk statue. It's going a little far, okay?
That's way too far. They're making this guy out to be a martyr. They're making him out to be like some sort of hero.
They have made him out to be a hero, and I'm going to show you that in a second. Real quick, last thing on Kimmel. Even though he's going back to the air, the two broadcast networks that originally said that they weren't going to air him was Nexstar and Sinclair. Have you ever heard of Sinclair Media? They've been in the news in the past 4 or 5 years.
It sounds familiar, but yeah, I don't.
So they're owned by a guy that's a big Trump donor, and they're sneaky smart. They started buying up all these local news stations, like whatever your local ABC affiliate is, that's one of the channels they might own. And they started programming because a lot of people don't watch CNN or Fox News or MSNBC. They watch their local news. And
there should be a law. There should be a law against that. Like local news should be owned by a local company or local.
I'd be all for that. Now, this Nexstar merger that I told you about, where they're going to own 80%, is the exact opposite of what you're saying. And I think it's bullshit, but that's where we are. But Sinclair got famous because people started noticing that, in small little towns, the ABC affiliate was running kind of pro-Trump stories in the middle of their newscast. And then somebody put together a compilation video. You've probably seen this before, but here's a quick reminder of it.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories plaguing our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media. More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories without checking facts first.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish these same fake stories true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
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 Wow.
So
Wow.
they get scripts, and it's not every night, but like once a week or so, like a script will go out to all 200 of their stations, and it's always a pro Trump. You should be afraid of the blacks or the Mexicans or whatever it
Yeah.
is, and they're pumping that into these rural white towns. Anyhow, that's Sinclair. So they're the only ones. They are not going to broadcast Kimmel for the foreseeable future. They have 200 stations across the U.S. So I don't know if that's 200 cities or not. I'm going to guess it is.
That's a
So,
lot.
yeah.
200 different cities?
So now you have Nexstar, who needs a favor from the Trump administration so that they can do their big merger and get 80%. You would guess they'd be owing Trump a favor, right?
You think they owe Trump a favor or Trump owes them a favor?
Nexstar. Well, Trump's going to do them a favor if he allows this
Oh.
merger to go through, and now they owe him. So I don't know. I just thought it's sneaky smart. The left isn't even thinking about kind of local television stations, but the right's all over that. The right beat them to Twitter, not Twitter. Sorry, podcasts. The Twitter. I'll just say podcast, Twitter, everything online. The left is 3 steps behind the right on all this. And now the right is going in and getting all the local TV stations, and the left is sitting there twiddling their thumbs. So sneaky, sneaky.
Well, and this is the thing, is so Trump owns he controls everything, right? He's controlling everything. He controls the House, the Senate, the Supreme Court, and now the media. And now he basically controls the media.
As far as legacy media, NBC and MSNBC are still independent from him, and ABC is, but they've already kind of given in to him. They've bent the knee to him. The New York Times he doesn't have yet. He's got everything else, I think. And he's also got all the social media. Zuckerberg is kissing his ass and has Instagram and Facebook. You got Elon with Twitter and WhatsApp. One of them owns WhatsApp. I think Zuck owns WhatsApp. And now you're going to have Larry Ellison and the Murdochs and some Jewish billionaires owning TikTok. So, yeah, that's his. Instead of the government doing it, he's just making it to where only his friends can buy these things. So, and soon to be potentially HBO and CNN. HBO, people are like, that one doesn't matter. But Bill Maher and John Oliver do great work on HBO. And yeah, those could be gone here shortly.
So, fascism.
We're getting there. And then, just as far as controlling information, this came out 3 days ago. The Pentagon says it will require reporters to pledge they won't gather any information, even unclassified, that hasn't been expressly authorized for release, and will revoke the press credentials of those who do not obey. So basically, any reporting you're going to do coming out of the Pentagon, you got to run by the Pentagon first and make sure that they say, yes, you're good to go with that, and then you can publish it. If you publish something that they don't want you to publish, you're going to be basically kicked out of reporting on the Pentagon.
Who's in charge of the Pentagon?
Pete Hegseth. So all the stuff we're finding out about Iran, though maybe they didn't really hit the nuclear sites and fully destroy them, and like all that kind of stuff, that's the end of that. If you report that, that's the last time your organization is going to be allowed in the Pentagon.
And you called me and said that there's a chance that they're going to start revoking passports for people talking.
That got said, and then it hasn't happened since. But they said that Marco Rubio the Secretary of State was going to have the power to revoke people's passports if they're talking bad about America or Charlie Kirk.
What happens if you get your passport revoked?
If you're in the country, that means you can't leave, you can't travel abroad, and if you're out of the country, you can't come back in. So, like I said, I haven't seen where that went. That was a story for a day or two. Things are moving so fast, that kind of went away. But had that actually got put into effect, legally, they could have stopped you at customs and been like, nope, sorry, we saw online that you were talking smack about Charlie Kirk. So
and my plan and my backup plan would be buy a sailboat and sail down to another country. But now they're blowing up boats, so there's no leaving. So they're trying to trap us in here.
Exactly. Yeah, you ain't going nowhere.
This is crazy.
You can't go anywhere, and you also can't say anything bad about this. So
and then there's trying to sell off all the public lands. So an opportunity of going and living in a cave in the woods somewhere and hiding out for a few years. Well, decades,
I'll say this. if they're still talking about selling public lands, I haven't seen it. There's so much other stuff. They could, if they're smart, they're doing that behind the scenes right now because we're not paying attention. And also, I didn't prepare anything on this, but we're 7 days away from a potential government shutdown, and the Republicans are refusing to negotiate with the Democrats, but then also expecting 7 Democratic senators to sign on in the Senate. And right now, Schumer's saying, no, unless you negotiate, we're going to get something for this. What they want is they want more money pumped back into the Medicare, Medicaid, Obamacare type stuff. The Republicans are saying, no, we're not going to give you that, and you just have to sign on. It's going to be a battle of who owns the shutdown. I think we're going to get a shutdown for, I don't know, a couple days, a week, whatever. But
I hope so.
Yeah. So anyhow, all right. So before we move forward, you remember the Daily Show back in the day? You used to do your daily moment of Zen. Do you remember that at all?
Yes.
It was always just a random video. The next 2 things we're going to cover might be upsetting to you. So I want to do a fun thing between now and then. So I have our little moment of Zen here. This is just I saw a video today that I watched 11 times and I laughed every time, and I'm hoping it brings you the same joy. So check this out.
Oh, no. Broke my motherfucking back. Let me talk to my lady. Man, fuck you, dog. You broke my back.
You broke my back.
He hit that wall hard. That cop just ran by and shouldered him. I don't know. I saw that today, and then I just kept rewatching it, and it made me giggle every time. So
I want to know the backstory.
Yeah, I didn't see the full video. So
they had like 7 cops there.
Yeah, and he said there was a longer video, and he was trying to go talk to his woman or something, is what he was yelling when he was running towards the house. Yeah, running handcuffed, and that cop came through. And that cop could have grabbed him totally, but instead the cop just shouldered him on his way by, and the guy flew into that wall so hard.
Excessive force for sure.
It made me laugh. I liked it. I don't know. I'm just going to tell you, like, I quite enjoyed that. So, all right, something less fun. Charlie Kirk's funeral was on Sunday, and I don't know if it was a funeral or a celebration of life, whatever. It was at an arena. It was at an NFL arena, and there's another arena next door, and they filled up both places. Like the arena next door had just like jumbotrons airing it, and I think they said 200,000 people were in attendance. So that's a big deal. Like, you can't discredit that. That's a huge number of people.
Did you see the amount of trash that they left outside?
I did see that.
It was insane.
Yeah. Which, like, they show that at every Trump rally. Like, they pretty much tailgate the Trump rally, and then when they leave, it looks like a disaster zone. But yeah, a lot of people were there. Here's what I want to say about it real quick. My initial thought was, I don't want to play clips from a funeral and try to like, we're not trying to profit because we're not making any money, but we're trying to, make something off this funeral. It's a funeral, so I wasn't going to pull anything out of it. I did end up pulling 3 clips because I had to. But let me say, if you haven't seen it yet, Charlie Kirk's wife, and I think her name is Erica, maybe. I'm not positive on that. She spoke, what she said was very awesome, very beautiful. She said she forgives the killer and that Christianity is about forgiveness and everything. I watched her entire speech, and everything she said was awesome. Like, it made me like her a lot. Like, I don't know anything about her, but I was impressed. The rest of the
her intro was pretty amazing too.
Yeah. Now, what's weird is they had like pyrotechnics. Did you see? Like, So I wanted to pull that to make fun of it, but then I was like, no, this is her husband's funeral, so I'm not making fun of it. So, but like, that was odd that there were pyrotechnics going on at a funeral. Yeah. Anyhow, besides her, the rest of the funeral, like, I don't know what the right term is. It was disconjointed. Is that a word? Like,
it is a word.
There were two viewpoints that didn't really mesh together, that they were like alternating between. And there were several like televangelists, like preachers, that were getting up there and were preaching like Christianity and love thy neighbor and forgiveness and the kind of stuff that Erica Kirk was talking about. I hope her name is
stuff you would actually say at a funeral.
Yes, 100%. But then they would like sprinkle in between these people like Stephen Miller or Benny Johnson or Trump. Stephen Miller, I didn't look into it, but people are saying that he basically plagiarized one of Joseph Goebbels from Nazi Germany's speeches. And they have the text like side by side. And I looked, and it's like the same theme. It's not straight plagiarized, but it kind of follows the same pattern. I don't know. But Benny Johnson, I didn't pull his clip, but he basically did this whole like, the left thinks that we're Christian nationalists and that we're trying to this and we're trying to that. And you know what? they're right. And everybody went nuts. And it was like, oh no. And like that was the first clip that I saw. And I was like, I really want to pull that clip, but I'm not going to pull a clip from a funeral. So not going to do it. The first clip where I finally had a break is, I don't know if he spoke before or after Erica Kirk, but Trump's, she went up there. We just talked about it. She went up there preaching forgiveness and love your neighbor and all that stuff. Here's what Donald Trump had to say at the funeral. I want to say he treated it like a rally. For the record, real quick, he went on to talk about tariffs and immigration and how America's hotter now than ever, and it was dead a year. He did his standard rally speech for Charlie Kirk's funeral. But here's one part that stuck out to me.
In that private moment on his dying day, we find everything we need to know about who Charlie Kirk truly was. He was a missionary with a noble spirit and a great, great purpose. He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica. But now Erica can talk to me and the whole group, and maybe they can convince me that that's not right, but I can't stand my opponent.
So I'll tell you this.
This is the whole thing. This is the whole thing. Like, when you speak hate speech all the time about how you hate people and you, like...
There's all
this
these...
is...
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, let me just say this. There's all these clips going around right now of Trump and all his people right now saying, well, they call them a fascist and they call them a this and a that. And then there's compilations of Trump and all his people calling Kamala a fascist and a communist and evil, and Democrats are the enemy and the enemy within and this and that. So here's the thing. Yes, the rhetoric on the left is going to get somebody hurt, but also the rhetoric on the right is going to get someone hurt. Like, both sides' rhetoric is equally bad right now. And it'd be great if we could kind of find a way to do away with that.
Equally bad?
Yeah, and I'm gonna say yes, just because from the minute any Republican candidate, like, let's go back to Mitt Romney real quick. Okay, Mitt Romney looks really good right now compared to everything we have to offer. Yeah. And they called Mitt Romney a racist and a womanizer and a this and a that, and like, that's kind of the left's playbook, is any white Republican running for office, like, he's automatically a racist and all these things. So yes, the left has a problem with it. The right also has a problem with it. There's a problem on both sides. And I know you're going to only see what the right does, but I can tell you right now that both sides have to calm down on it.
Okay. I just don't see it coming from the left as much as I do it from the right.
It's because of the bubble and the algorithm. Like, trust me, it's someone on the other side would be saying completely like you are, like, I just don't see it coming from the right. It's always the left that's doing it. And it's, yeah, you both feel very correct on that because of what you're seeing online.
But I see the left calls the Trump regime of, like, fascism, right? They call it fascist.
Yeah, they call it fascist, racist, Nazi.
It
dictator.
kind of is.
That's one of the problems is right now, I would say, like, it's definitely a little authoritarian feeling at the moment. So, like, me and Jesse
feeling it 100% is authoritarianism.
Me and Jesse kind of talked about this the other night, but like, I get it that we need to tone down the rhetoric, but like, what if he really is kind of doing some authoritarian stuff? Like, can we not say it at that point? He kind of is doing some stuff right now that
they're calling it as it is, man. It's crazy.
The problem is, it's one of those where, like, now they're being proven right, but back in 2016 to 20. They were saying he was a Nazi, racist, authoritarian, dictator.
Not really.
But they were saying it left and right. And at the time, it seemed like, oh my God, look what he's doing. But if we could go back to then, like, what he was doing then is nothing compared to what he's doing now. So they've been calling it the whole time. He's just now really proving that they're right.
It was a little bit back then.
It was 100% that. I was saying it. I was saying he's acting like a dictator. I was totally, like, we were all saying it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was. So we're just calling it as it is.
No, it's just that
that's not hate speech.
I'm just saying, as far as the fascist dictator stuff and authoritarian, like, we just happened to turn out to be right. We were saying it 8 years ago when it really wasn't there, and we got lucky that now he kind of is doing it.
But it was kind of there back then. We just had things in place. He had the same mindset that he has now. He just wasn't able to commit fully because there was a lot of things in place that prevented it. Now he has everybody under his control, and now he's
and
really able to pull off his fascism that he wants.
That's the lesson he learned from his first term. Is it was attempted authoritarianism his first term, but the people he appointed to be around him were stopping him from doing it. And Project 2025, like we have to look at this. Like they spent 4 years planning for how they would do it when he gets and they all the lessons they learned about the first time, and they put people around him that are just going to say sir, yes sir, like whatever he wants to do. There's no I don't even want I want to moral Republicans. I don't know what the right word is, but there's no Republicans around him that are going to step up and say, "Sir, you can't do that."
And it's interesting who they got. Like I would have never thought Marco Rubio would have bent the knee to Trump, or I can't even think of anybody else. But like
Rubio's the only one,
main one.
Rubio's the only one in his administration that I'm shocked is allowing this to happen. There's a lot of senators and congressmen that are going along with it that I totally can see that happening. But anyhow, back to the funeral real quick. Trump's speech was bad. Tucker Carlson spoke. Now, the only reason this was interesting to me is because a lot of the supposed friction between Charlie Kirk and Netanyahu over the past month, 2 months before he died, had to do with him letting Tucker Carlson speak at one of his events where Tucker said a lot of things about kind of implying that Israel was behind a lot. And then Dave Smith. So those are the two people that he let speak and Israel was furious about. So the fact that, go ahead.
You're bringing up Netanyahu and Israel, and like this was our initial thought was that that's who planned this hit job.
So I'll say this, there's still people that think that, and almost all the people that are still saying that are on the right. Like the left isn't doing the whole Israel conspiracy thing. It's like Candace Owens and Tucker and people like that that are still hinting at it.
I feel like I'm kind of on their page there. I mean, it was such a great shot. Like, what is this guy's track record at the gun range?
Here's all I'll say is the kid apparently admitted to his mom and dad that he did it, admitted to his roommate that he did it, and now he's alive in jail. So we'll get to have a trial about this. But to me, I'm pretty willing right now to say, oh, it seems like that kid did it. Like there seems to be there's a lot of loose ends that need to be tied up by the FBI. We're going to talk about that in a second. Let me get through Tucker real quick.
Okay.
But the reason Tucker is integral here is because he got to go on the TPUSA stage and he said a lot of things that Israel didn't like. So now Tucker's getting to speak at the funeral. What's he going to do? Is he going to be cool or not? I want you to listen to this, and I'm not even going to tell you what I think I hear, what a lot of people think they hear. You tell me what you think you hear Tucker Carlson saying.
Ultimately, he was a Christian evangelist. And it actually reminds me of my favorite story ever. So it's about 2,000 years ago in Jerusalem, and Jesus shows up and he starts talking about the people in power, and he starts doing the worst thing that you can do, which is telling the truth about people, and they hate it, and they just go bonkers. They hate it, and they become obsessed with making him stop. This guy's got to stop talking. We've got to shut this guy up. And I can just sort of picture the scene in a lamplit room with a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, thinking about what do we do about this guy telling the truth about us? We must make him stop talking. And there's always one guy with the bright idea, and I could just hear him say, I've got an idea, why don't we just kill him? That'll shut him up. That'll fix the problem. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Everything is inverted.
So did you catch there the reference to a bunch of guys sitting around eating hummus, talking about how are we going to shut this guy up?
Yeah, it was the Romans that killed Jesus.
So there's an argument over the last century about who killed Jesus. Was it the Romans or was it the Jews? There's a lot of people on the far right that are making the argument that the Jews killed Jesus. There's actually an interesting, it was a combination of both. The wealthy Jewish ruling class, they were allowed to basically be the ruling class under Roman rule. They were like the higher ups.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I don't know if this is true or if this is there, but basically they handed him over to the Romans. They gave him up. They turned him in. Therefore, the Jews. We knew a guy in high school that used to run around screaming the Jews killed Jesus. I don't know if you remember that or not.
No.
I'll tell you about him later.
I don't remember that at all.
He was big on that. But anyhow, so what people heard there was that he was basically saying, Charlie's death reminds me of my favorite story, and it's basically that the Jews killed Jesus, and he's relating that to somebody just killed Charlie. So Israel and Israeli people and Jewish people were not happy with that particular story by Tucker Carlson. That got a lot of attention online.
Is Tucker going to be next?
I don't know. Interesting. All I'm going to say is interesting. Like he after everything that led up to this, that he gets to go on stage and then he basically tells a story about the Jews killing Jesus. Interesting. So.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. The only other thing I have from the funeral here, and this is going to get to everything you want to talk about. Afterward, I'm watching kind of the coverage of it on Twitter, just seeing clips, and Steve Bannon's War Room. I see a clip from them that was interesting because I'm still seeing hints of like maybe Israel killed Charlie Kirk and all these theories. Basically, people on the right think they're not getting the full story from the FBI here.
I feel the same way.
Here's what Steve Bannon's War Room had to say about it.
So I was in line with people for 3 hours talking to all the folks, and they were Christians, and they were happy, and they had families, and they were lovely people. And I started talking to them, and they were happy and prayerful, and none of them that I spoke to believed that the shooter that they got and have arrested actually did it. And they are
the War Room posse. It's 0%.
They were they were angry.
Same with our chat.
They don't need that. They don't. Not saying this guy's not a bad guy and an evil guy.
Right.
But they think something. And this is why Kash Patel did announce today that the FBI has officially expanded the investigation. My big fear was you would get a lone wolf, lone gunman, and Utah police and everybody want to shut it down. I think Kash said today that they've expanded it out because we have to.
So I heard today that Kash Patel and somebody else flew to Utah.
Bongino.
Okay, so and they had fired the FBI director under that region.
They did that like a month before, maybe a month or two before the shooting, and it was somebody they named. They named this person to be the special agent in charge or whatever for that area, and then randomly fired her. She had like a Muslim or Middle Eastern name, and maybe that has something to do with it, but they fired her without saying anything about it and then never nominated a replacement. So that field office was basically leaderless. So you missed all this, but they're at one point, like the day after, they were like, we're gonna have a press conference at 3:00. And then an hour before it, they came out and said, oh, we're going to postpone the press conference because of rapid developments in the case. And everybody was like, oh, they must have a lead. Something's going on here. And then they had the press conference like 3 hours later, and it turned out that no, Kash and Bongino were flying in, and they wanted to be there for the press conference, so they delayed the press conference for like 3 hours. And then Kash and Bongino didn't even say anything. They stood on stage in FBI windbreakers and just kind of looked clueless while somebody else talked. So, anyhow,
yeah. So what was going on there? Like, why would they need to fly in to be
I think
part of it?
Simply because he's an attention whore. Like he did this, he went and walked the scene. He's never been in law enforcement before. Like him going and walking the scene means nothing. He doesn't know what to look for. Also,
so it's on-the-job training, basically. I never thought I'd say this, but when it comes to cases like this, there is a such thing as too much transparency. And like they're saying a lot right now, and I'm not a lawyer, but there's a lot of lawyers that are saying, hey, this kid might end up winning this case, even though he clearly seems guilty, because of all the stuff that mainly Kash, is saying in the media and tweeting. Like he tweeted today, I believe it was, he tweeted like 2 full pages. It was too much to try to pull and show on here. But he basically was acknowledging that he's seeing all the internet conspiracies and he's going to leave no stone unturned, and they're going to look in. And then he went through and named all the crazy conspiracies and how they're going to look into it. And it's like, dude, you already have a charging document. Like your charging document is filed. That is your theory of the case of what happened. And now you're saying that you're going to investigate all these other possible things, including this kid didn't do it. Like his lawyer, whoever the lawyer is for the kid that shot Charlie Kirk, he is loving life right now because this was pretty much an unwinnable case, and Kash is giving you gift after gift after gift. Again, I'm not a lawyer. This is what all the lawyers I'm seeing are saying on TV, on Twitter, everywhere you go. The lawyers are like, why? And then the text message conversation that didn't seem like it was a 22-year-old text message conversation. They later came out and said, oh, well, we've recreated that based off witness interviews.
And it's like, well, that's kind of fabricating evidence almost. Like, you guys laid that out. Anyhow,
it's gonna be an interesting case if it makes it to court. And
it'll make it to court, but it could honestly, it could come down to, because all the jury has to have is a reasonable doubt. That's all they got to have. And you have Cash today listing all these other conspiracies. If they were doing this while they're still looking for a killer or before they charged him, that's one thing. But they filed a charging document listing their theory of the case, and now the FBI is questioning that. Anyhow,
and there's some weird stuff where, like, he was walking with a limp because he apparently had a rifle down his pants, which is kind of, I don't think that's actually. And then he changed shirts twice, and apparently this rifle requires tools, a
screwdriver
to take apart. And he shot it. He got up there. Did he put it together? No, it was down his pants. But somehow he got up there with this rifle in his pants.
It was in his pants, but then when he was walking up the stairs, there's surveillance of him walking. It doesn't appear to be in his pants. So we are to believe, real quick, that it was in his pants fully assembled, and then he got into the woods. He walked through a neighborhood and got into the woods. Then he disassembled it and put it in his backpack. Walked up the stairs, reassembled it, took the shot, disassembled it, put it in his backpack. Because when there's a video of him jumping off the roof, there's no rifle to be seen there. Maybe it's too blurry and we can't see it. I'm just telling you, I don't see a rifle. So he made the shot, quickly disassembled the barrel, put it in his bag, went to the woods, reassembled it, wrapped it in a towel, and left it in a bush, fully assembled, and then left. Like, that whole timeline, and maybe there might be a really clear, and maybe it's like, oh, he did have it when he jumped off the roof, you just couldn't see it. Or maybe he tossed it off the roof, jumped down himself, and then went and picked it up, and that's not a. There are so many things that it could be that would, a little bit more information would make this make all the sense in the world.
Right.
But what they're telling us and what they're showing us on pictures is weird. Did you see the thing about the bullet not having an exit wound?
No.
This came out today or yesterday. TPUSA was the first to say this, and they said they talked to the coroner, and the coroner said there was no exit wound. His neck, his muscles were so strong and pure, his bone and muscles were so strong and pure that they stopped the bullet, and had it gone out, it probably would have killed people behind him. So he saved people's lives because his neck bones were so strong and pure. I'm going to tell you right now, this was a 30.
The coroner said that?
That TPUSA said the coroner said that. And then Fox ran with it as a headline, and they're calling Charlie Kirk the Man of Steel because he stopped. Now, here's the thing. I've never fired a 30-06. Never. A 30-06 is the same bullet as a 308, but just in a larger casing with more gunpowder. So same size bullet, but way more gunpowder. I've fired 308s. I've seen what happens when a 308 hits a hog, a big hog, and there is always an exit wound. Like, to think that a 30-06 hit somebody in the neck and didn't go through is odd. And I'm just gonna say it's odd. Like, I'd love to hear more on that. And they said that they found the bullet just beneath the skin, like, so it didn't penetrate far. Of all the weird things about this, that's one where I need a lot more information. Like, and I don't know how that could mean anything, but like, that doesn't make sense. I'm kind of stuck on that. So,
well, neither did Trump's ear.
That didn't make sense either. I don't.
I mean, like, what is going on with these assassination attempts?
The amount of blood that was running down Trump's ear inside of his face, and then like 2 weeks later, there's no scar or anything.
Oh, yeah. So I actually saw something the other day. They were talking, and obviously it's just a conspiracy, but they were saying that he got blood capsules from the WWE, and that's and they were saying, like, if you get shot this way, right, which is what he did, the blood, there would have been a splatter going down the back, and instead there was a splatter going across the front.
See, here's the thing. The whole blood capsule thing, that would mean that they basically staged the whole thing and were willing to kill that. Right. I don't buy all that first. And that's too there's no way they'd be like, shoot right beside my head. Like that, you don't take the chance on that. But I've heard other theories that, like, a bullet hit the podium and a piece of the podium glass splintered off and hit his ear. Like, that's way more believable. Like, I'm like, oh, yeah. But either way, I want to be real clear on this. Somebody shot at him, so that's an assassination attempt. I don't.
Well, let's say it did hit the podium. Like there was a complete full investigation, and this was under the Biden administration, right?
Yeah.
There had to have been a huge investigation on it. If it would have hit the podium, that would have come out, right?
Unless, hey, I don't know. Here's the thing: is like you just said, the Biden administration got to investigate this for like 5 months, maybe 6 months before Trump took over, and they didn't have anything weird to say about it. And then Trump took over, and a lot of his people were saying like, we want to get to the bottom of what happened in Butler. And then when Trump took over, nothing new came out. So like it leads me to believe it was that kid on the roof, and Trump was lucky to turn at the last minute. Like that's where I stand on that.
Yeah, but everything I've seen is like if a bullet hit his ear,
that doesn't make sense.
It would have exploded his entire ear.
There are slow motion videos of a bullet going right by the head of a deer, and because of the speed and whatever, they like it like eyes pop out, and it does all kinds of weird stuff if a bullet passes right by your head at supersonic speed. And the fact that he had no visible scar, like I would think he'd have a chunk of his ear missing. Is like that's what I kind of expected, or like clearly where they sewed some stuff back together. And like it was only a week or two, and all of a sudden there was just no sign.
Nothing.
To this day, I see pictures of his ear all the time, and like you don't see any evidence of anything. It just doesn't make sense. I will say though, I firmly believe a kid shot at his head, and that's a big deal. So I want to make that clear.
It's a big deal. Yeah.
But anyhow, the theories about who killed Charlie Kirk are, I don't want to say they're hysterical because a man died, but it's interesting to see. This is still going on, and there's almost a real clear cut, like, here's the guy that did it. His family says he admitted, his roommate/lover says he admitted, like case closed. And most of the people on Twitter are basically going, I don't buy this. So they're hiding something, and okay. I'm all for it. Let's see more evidence. But yeah, that's topic number one. That's going to be a little depressing as a funeral, a little scary with some of the speeches. The only other thing of major importance to talk about tonight, remember months ago when RFK promised us that he would find the cause of autism by September?
Yeah.
Did you see the White House little ceremony that happened today around 5:00?
I didn't see it. No.
Okay. Well, good news.
I heard it was Tylenol though. Tylenol.
So we've known it was going to be Tylenol for like 2 or 3 weeks now, and I've had time to watch all these different videos from people that claim to be doctors, saying that the science that they're looking at here is wrong. I'm not a doctor. I don't want to really get into that, but Tylenol is the culprit. This was very fun to watch live. It brought me right back to COVID. Do you remember the days when Trump would come out to the podium with like Dr. Fauci and Dr. Birx behind him, and then he'd get up there and he'd just start talking about stuff that he shouldn't be talking about, but me and you shouldn't be talking. Like, let the doctors talk about it. Like, none of us are trained to be talking about this. So why is he doing it? Like, in any other administration, the president would walk up and say, hey, we've got new COVID information. I'm going to turn it over to the Surgeon General or turn it over to the CDC, whoever it is, and let them tell the stuff. But Trump insists on being the one to tell it. That is exactly how today went. I'm going to let this first clip. This is just to set the tone for how things were going.
And by the way, I think I can say that there are certain groups of people that don't take vaccines and don't take any pills that have no autism. That have no autism. Does that tell you something? That's currently, is that a correct statement, by the way?
There are some studies that suggest that, yeah, with the Amish, for example.
The Amish, yeah, virtually. I heard none. See, Bobby wants to be very careful with what he says, and he should, but I'm not so careful with what I say. But you have certain groups, the Amish as an example, they have essentially no autism.
He's not so careful.
He made a very definitive statement, and then he turns to Bobby Kennedy and goes, is that a correct statement, Bobby? And Bobby goes, there are some studies that kind of show that. So no, it's not a correct statement. And then
So wait, are there some studies or no?
No. So from what I've seen online, I'm not a doctor. I don't want to get into the weeds on this shit I don't know about. But it appears that a lot of the Amish do vaccinate their kids. Like that's
really?
Yeah, I didn't know that, but apparently, and it's kind of a mix. There are certain Amish populations that don't, and there's some that do. And then also there are autistic people in the Amish communities. There actually is a slightly lower rate of autism though. Like where it's 1 out of 50 with us, it's like 1 out of 200 with them, or something like that. And they say that could be all kinds of things. The chemicals in the food we eat, ultra processed foods, it's exposure to Roundup, or what. Like, there's a lot of things they do different than us that it could be. So, anyhow, that
makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So anyhow, but let's let Trump explain to us what's wrong with Tylenol. Here's the next clip.
Effective immediately, the FDA will be notifying physicians that the use of well, let's see how we say that. Acetaminophen. Is that okay? Which is basically commonly known as Tylenol, during pregnancy can be associated with a very increased risk of autism.
That's so stupid. Why do they give him? Why is he talking? I mean, Bobby Kennedy shouldn't be talking either because he's not a doctor either. But either one of them, and Dr. Oz, is he actually a doctor? No. This is we are a joke. We are a laughingstock across the entire world.
If you're going to let him go out and explain this to everybody, maybe have him read it out loud once. Maybe teach him how to say the word acetaminophen.
Don't let him talk.
Yeah, again.
Stop letting him talk about science.
Let a doctor do the talking.
He doesn't believe in science.
Anyhow, this is how most of this press conference went.
Oh my gosh.
Apparently there was one study, and again, want to tell us everybody, I'm not a doctor, I don't know how to read studies. Apparently there was one study that showed like a 5% increased risk of autism if there was use of Tylenol or acetaminophen during pregnancy. Now, that study, when it came to peer review, they started looking at it and there were some issues with it, and they did something, I don't even want to act like I know, but they added the siblings in. Siblings of the same mom, that the mom also used Tylenol with them. And when they factored the siblings in somehow, the 5% went to like 0.0002 or something, like basically 0% greater risk when using Tylenol. Now, RFK is just looking at that first study that under peer review fell apart, but he's looking at that, and that's his study that he's using.
Typical RFK.
Yeah, and it's one of those where I would be all for let's study that a little more. Let's put some more money into studying to see if Tylenol. And the problem is when you're pregnant and you get a fever, like a fever, especially a high fever, is one of the most damaging things to a fetus. Apparently, like that will cause brain damage in the fetus. So controlling a fever when you're pregnant is very important. You cannot use ibuprofen or like all these other, like Tylenol is the only thing that's deemed safe. All the other things you would normally take for a fever, you can't take when you're pregnant. Like when we
but these women are getting fevers, are prone to getting fevers and using Tylenol. So the fever is more than likely the culprit is the fever, not the Tylenol.
Man, I'm so glad to hear you say that. So, the whole like correlation doesn't equal causation or something along those lines. I always mess up how I say it. But like, they say, the shark, I saw a chart where it was like, when ice cream sales increase by 20%, shark attacks also increase. So by that logic, well, no, also ice cream sales go up in the summer and the number of people that are swimming in the ocean goes up in the summer. But like, you can take things like that and make it make sense. Anyhow, the worst thing you could do in this situation, though, is tell a woman that if you have a high fever, try your hardest, try to stick it out and don't take any Tylenol. Because according to doctors, the fever is way more of a chance of hurting your fetus than the Tylenol does. So what do you think the odds are that Trump or RFK or Oz stepped in to let that be known?
Yeah, 0.
Okay, so next video from Donald Trump.
It's basically Tylenol, essentially, because I noticed that term is used throughout this conference. So it's essentially Tylenol. And I just recommend strongly that you don't use Tylenol unless it's absolutely necessary. I understand it's maybe 10% of the women that are pregnant are, would perhaps be forced to use it. And that would mean you just can't tough it out. No matter what you do, you can't tough it out. So that's up to you and your doctor. But there's a very strong recommendation, maybe stronger from me than from the group, because they're waiting for certain studies. I don't I just want to say, I want to say it like it is. Don't take Tylenol. Don't take it. If you just can't, I mean, it's fight like hell not to take it. There may be a point where you have to, and that you have to work out with yourself. So don't take Tylenol. Other things.
RFK, Oz, and who's this woman?
I don't know who she is. I'm sorry. The key part there, real quick, is when he said maybe it's a stronger recommendation from me than from the group, because they're still waiting on some studies. But I'm telling you right now, do everything you can to try to tough it out and don't take Tylenol. According to all the doctors I've seen since he said this today, they're all saying that this could have disastrous, like the rate of autism could very well increase based off that advice, because you're going to have women running 103 fevers, not taking Tylenol to bring the fever down, and that will cause brain damage to the kid. According to doctors, I'm not a doctor.
Do you like talk to a pediatrician when you're pregnant, or
yes.
Is it different? Okay. So it is a pediatrician. So I guarantee you pediatrician.
Oh, wait, hold on. No, so you talk to while you're pregnant, you talk to an OBGYN, I think.
Or an oncologist?
No, oncologist is cancer.
Oh, okay.
Because we had one doctor that we were with from the moment we found out we were pregnant. We were with her. She delivered our baby. But once she delivered our baby, we were done with her, and we moved on to a pediatrician. So there's, I think that's an OB, but I'm not sure that I'm right on that. So, if any women are watching, they're laughing right now at how wrong I am on this. So anyhow, sorry.
Our ignorance. Anyway, yeah. So that group of doctors is just going ballistic right now, I'm sure.
Probably. And here's the other fun part. I don't have a clip for this, but they also announced that they're going to attempt to treat autism with folinic acid. Apparently, there have been studies where folinic acid, while the kid's in the mom still, apparently might have some good. That's not totally wrong to try to do. But there's a company called iHerb that is the largest producer of folic acid. So if we're going to tell people to start taking more folic acid, this one company in America is going to do really well off that. And it turns out Dr. Oz is a majority owner in iHerb. So just throwing that out there.
This 100% makes sense now.
Yeah, just throwing that out there. Probably not related, but just throwing it out there. So that company's stock is going to skyrocket, and Dr. Oz is going to profit very much off of that. And then the only other thing, they did go on to talk vaccines. He said that he had a lot to say about it. I got tired of pulling videos. I had too many of them already. But he was saying he wants them to split up the MMR vaccine and give those individually, measles, mumps, and rubella. And he said that he thinks the doctors think that they'll actually work better if we split them up. I've never seen that from doctors, but okay, if doctors say that, whatever. And then during his vaccine talk, he like 2 or 3 more times said, "This is me recommending this. This isn't them because they're still studying it, but this is me recommending this." So Trump was just giving us his medical opinion.
So Trump is now pretending to be a doctor again.
He's pretending.
I think he likes to give people recommendations on medical stuff, which is interesting.
So, but nothing he said about vaccines. He wants to spread it out. He wants it to be over 12 years and break up all the shots. And at one point he had a whole thing where he was like, they pump these kids so full. They're beautiful little babies, and they pump them like racehorses. And it got kind of weird for a minute where he kept calling them beautiful babies. And I was like, this sounds odd. But anyhow, so that's where we're at right now. Is I'm speculating Tylenol. Would they have a lawsuit on their hands against? Trump said very many times there, don't take Tylenol. And if there's no medical evidence to back that up, I haven't seen that anywhere. I'm just wondering, like, could Tylenol sue him over that, or?
I don't. Yeah, probably.
I don't know.
He's probably got them in his pocket too.
Yeah. So we'll see. And
Johnson & Johnson.
Yeah, I don't know who makes Tylenol, but anyhow. The last big thing that's worth talking about, we're moving on from Tylenol.
Dr. Trump.
Yeah, Dr. Trump. Have you seen what's going on with the DOJ over the past week and a half while you were gone? There's a lot that's going on.
There's a lot going on. Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
This is crazy. There's a lot of crazy crap going on right now.
Crazy crap. That's the name of our episode. Crazy crap. So Trump has been trying to get Letitia James, she was the attorney general in New York, And his big thing is mortgage fraud right now. He's going after like 3 or 4 different people for mortgage fraud. And it turns out that lady Lisa Cook, who's part of the Fed, turns out she actually filled out her paperwork correctly and listed her second home as a vacation home. So that appears to have been, in Trump's terms, a witch hunt where nothing's going to get filed on her. I don't know where that stands currently. But he's trying to do it to a couple of other people.
So is she back in her position, or?
I think it still has to go in front of the Supreme Court, which is going to happen between now and October 14th. But Chuck Schumer, he's trying to say did mortgage fraud. There's a lady with the FTC that he's saying that's his weapon of choice right now. He's been trying to get Letitia James brought up on it, and this is going to be brought in the Eastern District of Virginia. The Eastern District of Virginia is an important district attorney or DA spot, I guess. They handle any case that really has to do with Washington, D.C. and the CIA or the FBI. Like all those buildings are in the Eastern District of Virginia, like Alexandria, Virginia, something like that. So if there's a classified documents case or anything like that, it goes in front of this guy. It's probably the one that matters the most. They picked a guy named Eric Siebert to be in the spot. He's not been confirmed yet, but he's been in office for 7 months. And glowing endorsements from both sides. He's just apparently a real good prosecutor. The Republicans like him and the Democrats, because there's 2 Democratic senators in that state. They have to give what's called a blue slip. Like whenever it's a state with Democratic senators, like they have to give their approval. And it's one of those where they don't have to, but that's the tradition. So they try to find a Republican in this case, but it's one they can tolerate. From all accounts, this guy was the clear-cut choice. Like, he's great at what he does. The Republicans like him. The Democrats like him. He's a straight shooter, so they put him in place. He basically came to a point where he was like, hey, I can't charge Letitia James with this because she didn't do anything wrong. Like, and that's where he was like, I guess there was a lot of pressure coming down from Pam Bondi, and his answer was, she didn't do anything, so I'm not going to bring a case that I'm going to lose in embarrassing fashion. Trump on, I want to say this was...
Oh, he wants to fire him.
This was Saturday night, maybe. So people think that this was meant to be a DM. This was on True Social, and I would like to think that if Trump needs to talk to Pam Bondi, his attorney general, there's other ways to do it. So, but people think the way this is written is that he meant to send her a direct message and accidentally made it a public one. I think he meant for this to be public, but Pam. I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially, same old story as last time. All talk, no action. Nothing being done. Now, that first line right there, I have reviewed 30 statements and posts. He has people that work for him that print off tweets and whatnot and then bring it to him to read. So it seems like somebody found 30 posts of MAGA people complaining that, like, they want Hillary locked up. They want Comey locked up. They want Fauci locked up. Why isn't anything happening? So one of his people brought that to him, and now here's him reaching out to Pam Bondi. So he's reviewed 30 statements and posts saying same old story, blah, blah, blah. What about Adam Shifty, or what about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done. Then we almost put a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who is never going to do his job. He's talking about Eric Siebert here. That's why 2 of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said he quit and that we had no case. No, I fired him, and there is great cause, and many lawyers and legal pundits say so. Lindsay Halligan is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. Just so you know, Lindsay Halligan, she is a insurance attorney that has never tried a real case in her life, and she was part of his legal team for the documents case in Florida. Okay, she has no business being a district attorney. But Lindsay Halligan is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now. President DJT. This is alarming on so many levels. So the president is not supposed to tell the Department of Justice who to go after or what to do. That's the way America is supposed to work. He's telling her flat out, "Hey, you haven't charged. Let me list 4 or 5 people that you should be charging."
Political opponents.
Yeah, political opponents. It's a little ridiculous. That Eric Siebert guy, just so you know, he tried to say that he quit, and then Trump made it a point to say that he fired him. So for not bringing the case. And I hope we get to hear that guy talk. And he said in that tweet that he was a woke rhino, this and that. No, I'm telling you right now, this guy was a heck of a district attorney. But because he wouldn't charge somebody that didn't do anything wrong, Trump is saying he's a woke rhino, blah, blah, blah. So anyhow, we got that going for us.
Oh.
It's a little worrying, right? The president publicly, if a lot of people have pointed this out, but if that was like a email that leaked, it would be Watergate level type, like, oh my God, the president's telling the attorney general to go after these people. Like that would be a huge story. But the fact that he just tweeted it out.
If Biden did that, could you imagine
it? Anyhow,
and also this smells like fascism.
It definitely, it's authoritarian, fascist, whatever. And everybody thought that must mean he's mad at Pam Bondi, so he came out with a tweet a little bit later where it's like, Pam Bondi's doing an excellent job, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember what all it said, but a little upset. So they are making the switch. They got Seifert out of there, and they are putting Lindsay Halligan, what was her name?
Well, why would he even do that in like a tweet?
That's why everybody thinks it was supposed to be a direct message. I don't think I think he meant to do it. I think he was saying it right out in the open.
Yeah, but he didn't capitalize anything like he normally does in his tweets.
Oh, he capitalized. Hold on. He capitalized rhino, pushed. Look at that again. Great case. Yeah, it's got all the classic Trump random capitalizations.
Okay.
And like half of it's one sentence. Yeah, it was just standard Trump thing there. So anyhow, that's going on there. And then, are you familiar with a gentleman named Tom Homan?
I know the name.
Tom Homan's the old guy that's kind of an old, like that kind of guy, and he's the head of ICE. He's the one that's running all the deportations and whatnot going on right now. So I think his official job is border czar is what I think his title is, but he's basically running all the ICE type stuff right now. Did you hear about the trouble this guy got in?
No, not at all.
So I'm going to let the clip tell the story here, but this all went down sometime leading up to the election, or right around the election, but before Trump took office, okay? Check this out. This is from MSNBC.
So in late 2023 and some of 2024, the FBI in Texas was engaged in an investigation that was separate. They were looking into a whole nother matter, and they ran into a business executive and official who knew Homan well. And during these conversations with this subject of their investigation, this subject kept saying, Tom Homan can get you contracts in a future Trump administration in exchange for money. This intermediary for Homan proposed that the undercover agents posing as business executives pay $1 million and that they would land them some great contracts when Trump was elected. The FBI then essentially opened a new investigation of Tom Homan because they felt they had to. And they began reaching out to him, having communications with him and his intermediary. And eventually it culminated in a meeting in September 20th, 2024, when Tom Homan accepted a bag of cash with $50,000 in it. The intermediary also was there.
What the fuck?
So Tom Homan was going around trying to sell access to a future Trump administration, asking for his intermediary was asking for $1 million and we'll get you some sweet contracts once Trump's back in office. He ended up getting a $50,000, sounds like down payment or proffer, I don't know what you want to call it, and took the bag of cash. According to all the reporting, he took the bag of cash and left, and he still has that cash. This happened, they said, September 20th, so a month and a couple weeks before, like maybe 6 weeks before the election. So this is another one of those, like, Merrick Garland, like, what the heck? Like, you could have somehow let this out. I'm sure they were trying to do it. Like, cases take time, and they were building their case. Well, then Trump took over, and there has been a statement released by Kash Patel and Emile Beauvais, who's like the deputy attorney general. And they said that, yeah, they looked into it, and there was no evidence whatsoever, so they closed the case and got rid of it. So he's just going to get away with that. He took $50,000. From what the story says, there were recordings. Like, I don't know if it was audio or video, but this was like a sting operation where they met up with him in like a hotel room and gave him a bag of cash. And they have tapes of this. And I'm sure on tape he said, yep, I'll make sure you guys get good contracts or something along those lines. And that case just is gone now.
I mean, it just keeps getting worse and worse.
Right? Like that's like I hate this. There's so many things that happen that it's like if any other administration, and this would be a huge deal.
Yeah.
And like that Tom Homan thing is kind of barely scratching the surface right now with everything else going on.
There's so much. There's so much.
Yeah. So
what's going on in Gaza right now?
Gaza City is getting flattened. We'll talk a little Israel here. Let me get this last thing out here. My favorite encapsulation of everything happening right now is the Tom Homan story broke, and somebody tweeted about this Tom Homan story. Megyn Kelly, we do not care. Don't bother real Tom Homan. He's a national treasure. And that seems to be the vibe. And she went on. She got into it with Tim Miller from the Bulwark after this. They went back and forth, and she was like, we don't trust Biden's FBI. We don't trust Biden's DOJ. Like any evidence you think you have from this, we don't trust and we don't care. And just went on and on and on about it. It was a nasty Twitter fight going on. But that's where we're at. I don't know how else to say it.
The Trump administration. Oh my gosh, the right is just. This is insanity.
Insanity is the right word.
We're living in crazy times. I mean, if this was happening in any other country, any other Western country, we would be going nuts about it. You know what else I heard today? We were about to interfere in Argentina's economy somehow. I don't know how this works, but
I got
we're about to interfere in Argentina's economy.
So Argentina's president, Javier Milei, he is a true libertarian. He took office, and while he was running for election, a lot of like Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, like the kind of the far right fringe people in America were fully backing him, and they were like, he's going to get in, and he's going to give us a blueprint for what to do in America. He's going to slash regulations, he's going to use tariffs, he's going to cut government spending. Javier Milei is the gentleman that gave Elon the chainsaw on stage at whatever event that was.
Right.
And your chainsaw, Elon being an idiot. That's Javier Milei. So he's been running Argentina now for a year, roughly, maybe a year and a half. And the economy has been heading downhill fast. Inflation is through the roof. It's bad. And he's basically, if you look at what he did in Argentina, it's kind of what we're doing here in America. We're following that. And so it's very important to us that playbook work so we can continue to do it here. Like they really want to be able to keep showing that.
But our economy is heading down fast too.
We're not to the point they are. They've been doing this for a while now.
Right. But ours has started, and it's only been what?
Yeah, we're actually
9 months. We're at 9 months, dude.
We're actually kind of on pace of where Argentina was 9 months in. Like we're following exactly with what happened in Argentina should be a huge warning sign for everybody in America right now that's seeing what Trump's trying to do with the economy. So their economy started to have real bad problems in the last couple of days. Their stock market fell by like 10%. It was basically like the Great Depression for them is starting. Scott Bessent comes out this morning. Argentina is a systemically important U.S. ally in Latin America, and the U.S. Treasury stands ready to do what is needed with its mandate to support Argentina. All options for stabilization are on the table. These options may include, but are not limited to, swap lines, direct currency purchases, and purchases of the U.S. dollar-denominated government debt from Treasury's Exchange Stabilization Fund. Opportunities for private investment remain expansive, and Argentina will be great again. We're about to do a huge bailout. Like when we bailed out the car companies back in like 2008, and we bailed out the airlines, I think a couple months later, like we're going to do a bailout of a foreign country. The dollar amount is going to be staggering. I don't want to guess. It's not going to be like 10 million. It's going to be a lot of money. And we don't have that. We're in debt. We're adding to the debt. I don't know if you've seen, but government spending this year is higher than it was at any point during Biden. Like we're spending more every month than we were under Biden, and we're about to bail out Argentina.
We're gonna bail out Argentina.
and their midterm elections are in 1 month. So Malay would lose. I don't know how their government works, but he would lose, say, the House and the Senate if that's what they have, because they're. But now we're going to step in and bail them out to hopefully help him win his midterm elections and keep doing his playbook. And it's important that it works down there because for the past 8-9 months they've been pointing at Argentina as what we're trying to do, and it's totally ruining their economy. So
164 billion in debt.
That's how much Argentina is.
Yeah, they're about to be due. By failing to pay 500 million on its due date to its creditors. Okay, so yeah, so they're about to owe 500 million. I guess they don't have it.
So, and that's the thing is that we're not just going to pay that. He's saying that we're going to do all kinds of what do you call them?
We're $30 trillion in debt.
$37 trillion in debt, sir.
Almost what?
37 trillion is where we're at.
37?
Yeah. So anyhow,
that went up by 5 trillion in the last 9 months, didn't it?
No, it was 36 trillion when Biden was in office.
Geez, I haven't paid attention to that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's where we're at.
We're fucked.
We're cooked. I keep hearing people say we are so cooked, and I can't catch it on, but I'm trying to say cooked now. That's what the kids are saying apparently. We are so cooked, bruh. Anyhow,
I'm gonna move into
one of those places.
This apartment right here.
Yeah. Good luck, man. But then I will say this again, credit where credit is due. A lot of the right wing today was very upset about this. Like, America first. Why are we bailing out Argentina? Now, all the people in the administration and the higher up Trump people are all trying to make the case for why we should bail out Argentina and it's the right thing to do and this and that. But again, we don't have the money, and why are we this guy did a lot of stupid economic policies, and now his country's paying the price. It'd be nice to be able to say
we're doing the exact same stupid economic policies.
Exactly.
Isn't Argentina's are they the one that made Bitcoin their national currency?
I don't know the answer to that. You should look that up. I know that this Javier Milei guy, the first time I saw him, I was like, oh, this is going to go bad. Like, just if you see him and hear him talk, he looks a little crazy. So I was like, okay, this can't go well. And now here we are.
That was El Salvador.
That was El Salvador. That was I can't say. I think of the guy's name, but the guy with the Sikot prison, Bukele. Yeah, President Bukele.
No, it was Nayib Bukele. Yeah, Bukele. Okay.
Bukele. Yeah, that's their president.
Bukele.
Yeah. So
sounds.
Anyhow, that's that's awesome. And also to recap, Trump's being divisive at a funeral. Tylenol, don't take it no matter what. You got to try to tough it out if you're pregnant, and we'll just see how that works out for pregnant women. The DOJ is officially an arm of Trump's secret police, I guess is the best way to say it. Like that's his private police force. And then we're bailing out Argentina, so everything's fine. It's basically the same as how you left it.
And there are grinder outages at Kirk's memorial too.
That's always hysterical. Anytime there's a big Republican conference anywhere, Grindr, they have charts where it shows Grindr goes through the roof. And for anybody that doesn't know, Grindr is apparently the homosexual dating app for men. Is the best way I can say it. And apparently it went so through the roof that it crashed the app in Arizona on the day of that. That's funny. That I don't care who you are. That's funny right there.
Well, it's funny because they're so anti-gay. But they're closeted.
Yeah, that kind of
seems
fits.
to happen. This seems to happen over and over and over again. Like with it happens.
There, people say every accusation is an admission, is what the line would be.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, and it happens with these preachers. A lot of times with these preachers who are super anti-gay, and it turns out that they're ordering male hookers or getting caught. Someone got caught blowing a guy in the bathroom in a men's stall, or what's his name? Lindsey Graham. Isn't he
there's so many rumors about that, but there's no evidence. But yeah, there's a lot of accusations there. And he's a bachelor. I mean, he's 60 something, and I don't think he's ever been married. There was a time when
which is fine, which is totally fine.
Totally.
We all know dudes who are
There was a time, you're that dude, by the way. But
I'm that dude, yeah.
There was a time when he was supposedly dating Laura Ingraham from Fox, but the conspiracy theories are that she was his beard or whatever, like to help pretend he's straight.
She's
Um,
she's too young for him anyway.
I don't know. Anyhow, to get to Israel, because you mentioned it, the invasion of Gaza City is happening. It's been happening for the past couple of days. Every day there's videos of them blowing up like 15-story apartment buildings and stuff. They're
Yeah, or them
flattening
like destroying food trucks.
Yeah, that's a problem.
I've seen that a few times recently.
I don't know if it's going to matter, but a couple new countries today recognized a Palestinian state. The United Kingdom being one of them. So Great Britain did. Just in 2025. Australia, Belgium, Canada, France, Luxembourg, Malta, Monaco, Portugal, and the United Kingdom announced formal recognition or plans to do so at the UN General Assembly.
Well, was that the assembly where every state voted to, I don't know, stop Israel? I don't know what they're doing.
Except for America, that lady raised her
America,
hand.
yeah. Who is that bitch?
I don't know, but it's the way that the UN is set up is dumb because there's the UN, but then there's the Security Council. It's like, I don't know, 10 to 20 countries. And then of the Security Council, there's a word for, I'm going to say like executive members, but there's like a higher class. And certain countries, us, Russia, China, I don't know if there's anybody else, like we basically have a veto vote. So like every time the world tries to sanction Russia for what it's doing in Ukraine, Russia vetoes it. So and then same with like when Israel's doing something, we step in and veto it for Israel.
Oh, they need to get rid of that.
Yeah, the one vote veto is a very dumb rule.
Ridiculous.
But and then also of the Security Council, China, Russia, the UK, and France all recognize a Palestinian state. So that's like 4 of the major countries in the Security
China
Council.
just like condemned Israel for what they're doing to the children in Gaza.
There was a video where one of their delegates at the UN basically like went off on one of the Israeli delegates, and there's a video of it. So yeah,
Dude.
and
there was protests in Israel too, wasn't there?
Yeah, there's been more and more recently. I don't get. So I learned this recently. Susie Wiles is Trump's chief of staff. We talked about her a little while ago. She's a shady operator. Yeah. But before she helped run Trump's campaign, you know what the most recent campaign she ran was?
George W.
It was Bibi Netanyahu's reelection campaign in 2020. So she helped run his reelection campaign and now is Trump's chief of staff, which that makes a lot of sense. Like when I learned that, it was like, oh, like now I believe all of it. Like this seems to make total sense. So she's I don't want to say pulling the strings, but she's got a lot of influence in what Trump does. And her and Bibi, it appears, have a really good relationship. I told you a long time ago, this is going to end bad for the Palestinians. Like there's no scenario where this looks good for them. And at this point,
well, it's already bad for them. It's already horrible. It's horrendous.
I'm saying it's going to finish out. It's going to go to the end. Like they're at the end of this, Trump is going to pull out his real estate pants and they're going to develop that area to be the Riviera of the Mediterranean or whatever they were trying to call it. The Palestinians aren't going to be living. And then also, Bibi's made it very clear recently that they're also just going to take the West Bank. Like the West Bank is evaporating. Like we're all paying attention to Gaza, and like they want all Palestinians out of Israel. Like that's where this is headed. And it's going to be a couple months, and it's going to be done. Like at least we won't be arguing about it anymore because there's no stopping it at this point. So
why isn't anybody doing anything?
Well, the only people that really could do anything is America, and it would have to be our president. I mean, China's not supplying them with it. Like, if you think China's going to go to war with them over this, they're not. But China's not giving them weapons and stuff. I mean,
what about Europe?
I don't think Europe is giving them offensive weapons. I don't know about defensive weapons.
Well,
but
I'm not saying like giving them anything. Like, yeah, we are not only supporting but funding this genocide. But like, why isn't anybody bombing Israel over this? Again, nobody wants to take up the.
That's not going to happen. That shouldn't happen. That shouldn't happen. Now. Let's start bombing innocent people in Israel. That's not the answer to this at all. And the thing is, Europe doesn't have any like leverage. They don't give them money or sell them. Like there's not any. If there were some sanctions they could put on that would make a difference, they probably would try. They don't really have anything to do there. Like they're powerless. The only thing they could do is go to war with Israel. And let's just say that I'm in favor of not having innocent people die. And if you start bombing Israel, you're killing innocent people. So, not in favor of that.
But so we're just going to let them kill innocent people.
We've been doing it for 2 years now.
It
I think
sucks.
we're coming up on 3.
This needs to stop. If I ran a country, I would be like, oh, we're going to war with Israel right now.
Wait, I'm trying to think. Was it 2022 that this started? October 7th attack. We might be coming up on 3 years of this. No, it was 2023. Okay, so we're coming up on 2 full years of it. So, anyhow, yeah, I mean, there's one person that has the power to stop it right now, and it's Donald Trump, and he doesn't appear to have any interest in stopping it.
No, because he's getting a golf course and a resort out of this.
I guess you could say that maybe if all the senators got together, they have some power to do something. I don't know what they might be able to do something, but they're clearly not gonna. So, and even I'm gonna make this real clear. It's not just the Republican congressmen and senators. It's a strong majority of Republicans and Democrats that are all in favor of letting this continue.
But even if we just cut off funding them with bombs, it's still going to continue. They've got this. They're going to take it. Like they're not like somebody has to step in and say no.
That's not going to
stop now. So this is just going to happen.
This is going to happen. Yeah, I mean, I think you need to come to grips with the fact that I've been telling you this for a year. This is how it's going to end. I mean, there's no scenario where they don't fully complete their mission here. I wish I was wrong.
When was the last time you saw a video of a dying baby?
I see them way too much. It's happening all the time. It's happening every day, and I see them all the time.
Day, every day. These children are starving to death. No, and nobody gives a fuck.
There are people in America. There's like the Democratic voters care a lot. Like by all the polling, the people that are voting do. The elected representatives. Actually, I should say there's been some progress because, like, just yesterday, 100 members of the Progressive Caucus, it's not all the Democrats, but it's a caucus of the Democrats, said that they would vote for no more offensive weapons. Now, that's not nearly enough people to actually stop that from happening. But the fact they got 100 of them, 100 out of 210 or so, maybe. So they got like half of the Democrats in Congress are now saying they would stop it. It would have to be all of them plus a couple of Republicans to actually do something.
Yeah, I saw a lot of free Gaza signs in Italy too.
There's actually a strike that happened yesterday or today in, I think, was it Italy that went on like a total nationwide strike for Palestine? Hold on.
Well, they went on the train. They went on a train strike today, starting today.
Italian unions called for a 24-hour general strike to protest Israel's military actions in Gaza and pressure the Italian government to end economic institutional relations with Israel. So yeah, so that happened. It didn't say what. That was either yesterday or today. They did like the 24-hour union strike. So it's not going to do anything. I mean, awesome. I'm glad they're trying, but it's not going to do anything. So yeah. The Palestinians, man, like I hope that some Arab country offers them like a settlement or two to like, here's your new homeland. They're not staying in Gaza or the West Bank. It sucks. It's not right, but I'm just telling you right now, like that's what's happening. There's no stopping it at this point. It's in motion. Unless Trump has a change of heart, which I don't see anything that will cause that to happen. So,
no, I don't see it either.
And that's where I try not to be conspiracy brained, but this is one of those where I just look at it and I'm like, what does Israel have on Trump? Like, what does BB have on Trump or all of our politicians? And it's probably all money related, honestly. Like, I think it's financial. I think it's stuff like that, but whatever. There's something going on.
It's money. Palestinians are dying because money.
Money and religion. And then we've only got 7 minutes left, but the religious right in this country thinks 100% that we should be helping Israel defeat all the Palestinians. I mentioned this to you this morning, but we might not actually get to post this show tomorrow. There is a large group of Christians on TikTok and Twitter that think that they think the rapture is happening tomorrow. It has something to do with the red heifer that happened in July where they sacrificed a red heifer.
We talked about that.
We did. And then tomorrow there's some blasting of the trumpets or something. Mm-hmm. And like those two things together mean the rapture. And I saw videos all day of people that like at first I was like they have to be parody videos. Like they're not being serious, but they are. They're being serious. Like they were leaving like rapture tips. Like be sure to leave extra food out for your pets in case pets don't ascend into heaven with you because there won't be any good people here left to feed your cats. So like the people were on their front porch. There were ladies with like 7 or 8 bowls of food and they were filling them all up so the dog would be able to live for 7 or 8 days until it ran out of food. I don't get it, but like I saw a number of rapture tip. One lady was cleaning her house so that after she's gone, whoever takes over her house will have a clean house to live in. Like
I'm gonna go live in that house.
yeah.
I mean, okay. I hope the rapture happens and only like 20 people get sent to heaven.
It's gonna be a lot smaller number than people are thinking because I think everybody's like, I'm getting in. It's like, no, like, you've done a lot of stuff, sir. You might not
It's
be
only
getting
like
any.
400 people across the entire world go to heaven.
Okay. Besides the fact that
And they're all Muslims.
So it would kill our economy 100%. Like our economy would be done. But imagine if tomorrow we woke up and like Thanos style, like half of the population of America was just gone. Like the housing crisis would be fixed, congestion and traffic. Oh my God. Like there'd be plenty of food for everybody. I don't know. Like there'd
be a lot less hatred and fighting and like the wars would stop going on.
Yeah,
Dude.
all the truly good people would be gone and we'd be left with all the people like me and you.
Oh, so you're saying like
because I know you like to give a hard time, and we both like to give a hard time to like the Christian nationalists, those people. But like, there's a lot of really good people that are really religious that are going to get into heaven, and then it would leave me and you here without all of those really good people. Now we'd get rid of some of the bad, some of the people that are annoying religious, you would get rid of, but you'd also get rid of all the really good people, and it'd all be people not worthy of going to heaven would be all that's left on earth. So
but if you voted for Trump 3 times, I don't think you get into heaven.
I know some people that would disagree with that. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh yeah, me too. We all do.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, there's a part of me like I'm going to text a lot of people I know tomorrow morning and be like, "You still here? Like, is everybody still here?"
Do you know anybody that believes in this?
Not that. So one of the sports team my daughter is on she plays with like 90% of the team goes to this like Christian school. So I know the families are all very religious, and I was poking around tonight asking, and nobody had heard about it. So I was informing them, and they were all like, "What, really?" But I did find out that most of them do think the rapture is going to happen sooner or later, but it's just nobody knows when it's going to happen. But like I realized that I was kind of making fun of anyone who believes in the rapture, and I quickly had to change and be like, "Oh no! Like I'm just saying." That they think the rapture is going to happen tomorrow, and I kind of had to backtrack a little bit there because I realized, all these people are sure the rapture is going to happen one day, and they hope they get to go. So I was like, shit. So quick audible on that.
Rapture.
Yep. So anyhow, that's all I have for you. I hope you got caught up on your 2 weeks gone.
Yeah, thanks for catching me up, man. There's just it seems like there's just so much.
You have no clue. You have no clue how many things I didn't tell you about that happened in the past 15 days. Like it's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's even stuff that I've heard, I just kind of heard about today, and I can't remember them now, but I'm just like, whoa, what is going on?
Yeah. I had to be selective, and I brought you like the 3 or 4 that I felt like were the most important. There's a lot of other stuff. And I'm not counting Jimmy Kimmel as the most important. I just told you that because it just happened. So that's not one of the most important things. Yeah. We're cooked, bro. We're so cooked.
Yeah. I mean, I even saw in Sweden this past weekend, there was like protests and the police were using fire hoses to hose down the protesters.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'm too preoccupied by what our problems in America, whatever's going on in Sweden, I'm not paying attention to at the moment. I should.
There's a lot of shit going on in America right now.
Yeah. It's been a busy news week.
What are we going to do, Andy?
Popcorn. Just get some popcorn. That's all we can do. Just
the economy's going to tank eventually. This is what everybody's saying. And usually when the economy tanks, food prices go down.
Inflation's going up, and Trump keeps telling everybody that he fixed inflation, and it's currently going up. They canceled, there's a yearly study they do to measure food insecurity, and they're not doing that. They announced they're just not going to do that study. And it's like, oh yeah, because you cut SNAP benefits for all those people, and now you're not going to measure. So cool. It's just like Trump
Cool.
said with COVID. You wouldn't have as many cases if you weren't testing so much, and that's kind of that's where we're at. So, all right, we got to get out of here, man. I will talk to you soon.
Peace.
Later.
Sometimes you eat the bar, sometimes the bar eats you.